Hello everyone, it's Space Chaser again, welcome to another video. This is a kind of model review with a difference. I'm going to review a toy, or should I say a couple of toys. Sometimes when you're doing Code 3 buses and doing dioramas and things, it's nice to have a bit of a blowout, have a bit of fun, do something a little bit less uber serious than what we normally do. And I found these recently. This one was in Smyth's Toy Superstore. It was £5 basically. They had 3 of them to collect. There was this white airport coach. There was this red express line coach, express bus tour line, and there was a blue city tour coach. So as I said, they were £5 each. I was stood there trying to decide which one to buy. Mrs. Pacer Chaser came up and said, look, they're £5 each, just buy one of each. So that's what I did. Something else I found as well in the entertainer was this vehicle, which is a different one, as you can see. This one was £6, it was slightly more expensive, so we'll have a look at that a little bit later on. Again, there were 3 versions of this, the blue city tour, the white airport one, and the red express coach. But I just got the one vehicle of this. It's not quite as good as the other one, so I just got the blue city tour version. So I'll turn into the one from Smyth's Toy Superstore first of all, the £5 one. What scale is it? Well, I think it's roughly 1/64. I've tried to work it out looking at the dimensions of some generic coaches and then measuring the model, but I've not been able to scale it properly. It keeps coming out at 1/75th or 1/80th, which is not correct. 1/80th would be smaller than 1/76 scale, which it isn't, and 1/75th would be slightly larger than 1/76, but it's a little bit bigger than that. So I'm going to go for around 1/64th, somewhere around there. It's that kind of size. It's not as big as a 1/50th, it's not as small as a 1/76th. So I'm going to go, as I say, 1/64th, somewhere around there. What is it, do we think? Well, it's, to be honest, it's generic. It's not based on any particular coach. There are little bits and pieces of various different ones. It looks quite realistic, actually. It looks like it could be a real coach. I believe what they've done is just taken a pastiche, a portmanteau of various different vehicles, and put it together, because then they don't have to pay any kind of licensing fees to any manufacturers. Bearing in mind it is designed as a cheap child's toy, so obviously if you're paying licensing fees on top, it would put the price up and make it less attractive. So I believe, as I say, it's a bit of a mixture of different vehicles. The front of it looks a little bit Setra-like, especially the grille. It looks like the front of a Setra, as I say. And then when you go around to the side of it, it looks a little bit like a Marco Polo bodied vehicle. Marco Polo, Brazilian bodybuilder, but the vehicles have gone basically all over the world. You find them in the UK, you find them in Europe, you find them in Africa, presumably in South America where they're based. What makes me think it might be based on a Marco Polo is these small windows here, these very sort of small square side windows, which are a feature. You do find these bodies on, as I say, vehicles in the European Union. I went to the Czech Republic recently. There were quite a few Mercedes-Benz Turismos with these bodies on, Marco Polo bodies with these small square windows. So I believe it is based on that. The back of it could be many things, really. It looks a little bit Van Hool-like with the lights. It looks a little bit like one of the later Van Hool Alizés. But again, the grills give off sort of Mercedes Turismo, Van Hool Alizé, that kind of thing. So again, as I say, it's a bit of a mixture. It's a bit of a mix of different types of vehicle. But it does look like a fairly normal, generic coach. And in my view, they would make, you know, a nice little diorama, paint them up a little bit, and just put them together on a diorama. Obviously, they won't go with any other vehicles because of the scale. But, you know, it's just, as I say, a little bit of a blowout, a little bit of fun. A fun project to do. So what I'll do now is I'll look around it in the normal way that I would for a review. The front looks pretty good. Again, it's not based perhaps on anything in particular, but the windscreen looks like a fairly modern coach would do. It could be many things, like I say, Mercedes Turismo, etc. It does have that look of both of those about it. The front grille looks reasonable, actually. I mean, maybe these sort of lights in the middle look a little bit unrealistic. But generally it's not too bad, and you could paint that middle bit black just to make it look a bit more like a grille and less like lights. That would work. You've got the indicators there, which, you know, look like they're behind glass. It's quite a nice detail. The wipers are moulded as well. They stick out from the screen. They look pretty good. I've seen worse than that on die-cast models that you buy, you know, as proper collector's items, shall we say. A little bit of play value for you there. The door opens. If I can do it, there we go. It comes out like that, but yeah, it looks pretty good. The mirrors again look fairly realistic. They look like mirrors on a modern coach do. Those large sticky out mirrors that drivers panic about when they're going down a narrow road. They look, as I say, pretty realistic. You could put a little dab of silver paint on the inner face there just to make it look like the actual mirror. But generally it's pretty decent. You've got the little catches there modelled on the side lockers and things. The grille, there is actually some moulding to it. It's not just a black painted shape. It's cast in. You can see the bars of the grille there. The wheels look really good. I mean, they're all the same, which they wouldn't be perhaps in real life, but they look, as I say, pretty decent. I've seen worse wheels on a collectible diecast. Go on to the back, you've got an opening engine cover. If I can just get it, there we go. A representation of the engine underneath. Again, it's supposed to be a toy, but it looks pretty decent. And the backlights look quite good as well. Again, there's an attempt to make them look like glass. That one, as you can see, is a little bit loose, and you can see it moving about there, but a bit of super glue will sort that out, not a problem. If you were giving it to a child to play with, though, you might want to be just checking that a little bit, just to make sure it doesn't come off. It is marked up for ages 3+ on the box, and obviously you don't want that falling off and going into a child's mouth, so if you do buy one of these as a plaything for a child, I'd just quickly check it over before you give them it, and again, just secure that with a bit of glue. There's also a little bit of sticky out paint there. I don't know if you can see it. The paint's somehow been caught and is sticking up, and it's a little bit sharp, so you might want to take that off as well. You must bear in mind that this was £5, so you can't expect miracles. The grille on that side appears to be just painted. There is actually a little bit of sort of lining across it, but there's no real relief to it, so I don't know how they've sort of printed it with some lines across by the look of it. There's a little bit of a grill there underneath the marking. You might want to get this marking off. It appears to be just stuck on. It seems to be self-adhesive. It does look a little bit crude, but I'm sure it would come off if you wanted to repaint the vehicle. Another bit of play value there. The side locker opens. But again, if you were painting this up as a model, it doesn't look too bad. I mean, there is a bit of a gap. You could probably fill that in. A little bit of filler if you didn't want the thing to open. All in all, it doesn't look too bad at all. The roof looks fairly decent. You might want to paint the skylights in black if you were doing it as a serious model, or, you know, grey or silver to make them look a little bit more skylight-like. The underside, there's not really any kind of detail. I'm not quite sure why there's a speaker in it. I don't know if it's supposed to make noises and things. I can't find any switches or anything like that. I'm guessing there's probably a more expensive version that comes with some sort of sound, which this isn't. But there is a bit of detail to it, not a lot, but you've got a little bit of the chassis framing. You can see a bit there at the back. You've got what appears to be the exhaust manifold there. And if you come forward, you've got the front suspension modelled as well, so it's not too bad at all. The interior would need painting. It looks like the bus comes apart. There's some screws underneath it, so you could probably unscrew them and take it to pieces. I've not tried to do it yet, but the interior needs painting. It's done in a, I mean, it's nicely done. There's some proper relief to the seats. They're shaped, the headrests are shaped. It all looks really good, but it's done in like a clear plastic, which doesn't look particularly realistic. So that would benefit from taking the bus apart and painting it. But all in all, as I say, for a toy, it's pretty decent. I've seen die-cast models that are not as good as that one. But yeah, all in all, it's pretty decent. It comes screwed to its box like that. You can see there's a couple of bits of plastic with screws through that attach it to the actual box. So next up is the one from the Entertainer. This cost more money, as I say, it was £6, and it's not quite as good if I'm being honest. It's not screwed to the base, it's attached by these things that you just turn around. They go into little slots on the bottom, so they secure it to the cardboard base, as you can see. It appears to be about the same scale as the other one, so they would look reasonable next to each other. I'm getting strong neoplan vibes from this one. It looks like a neoplan of some description with the raked back front. So we're going to go with that. I think it's been subtly modified so that, again, they don't have to pay any licensing to anybody. The back of it looks a little bit Kitano Levante-like with this sort of sloping in bit down here. Although the grille isn't Levante-like, I don't know exactly what that's of. But yeah, generally it looks a bit like a Neoplan. So it is £1 more, but you get less. There's no play value on this one if you're giving it to a child. It's not got opening doors or opening engine compartments or anything like that. It's just basically a metal box. So we'll have a look at it. The mirrors aren't as good as on the other one either. They're a lot heavier, a lot cruder looking. I mean, they still capture the kind of shape of the real mirrors on a coach in the modern day. But they do look a bit crude and a bit toy-like, so they're not really as good as the other ones. The glazing suffers from not being sort of tinted, which you wouldn't expect on a toy anyway, but it does make it look a bit weird. However, the shape of it's pretty reasonable. It looks it looks quite a lot like the Neoplan, the sort of shape of a fairly modern Neoplan coach. The wipers are actually picked out in relief, but they're not painted, so you'd need to paint those black if you're doing it on any kind of diorama. And the front grille area is just done in black. The lights are not picked out, but you can see where they are. They're moulded in or cast in. You just pick them out in silver or orange for the indicators or whatever you want, and that will make it look a lot better. Going round to the side, you would need to, if you're making a diorama out of it, making it into a bit of a model, you'd need to paint the window pillars black. Because they're moulded on, but they're not actually picked out in a different colour, which gives a slightly strange look to it, but it's easily doable. It's not a problem. Let me just check that the door doesn't open, because it does look a little bit ill-fitting, as if it maybe should. I stand corrected, it does open, but there's a slider underneath. There's a little... Sorry, I'm losing my voice at the moment, but yeah, there's a slider underneath, which I've just noticed, so you pull that back, and it slides the door open, which is a nice little feature, actually. It's quite nifty. So yeah, there is some play value to it, I stand corrected. But yeah, if you were making a diorama out of it, making it look a little bit like a model, you would need to paint the window pillars in black and just pick them out to, as I say, get rid of the slightly weird appearance. Then you've got the side lockers, the little catches there are moulded on as well. You've got the sort of engine grills there, the ventilation grills. They would probably benefit from being painted in black or something like that, or at least picked out. The wheels don't look as good on this one. They are very, very toy-like, and the tyres are low profile to the point where it looks like it's actually running on its rims. But yeah, they don't look as effective as the other ones. But again, it is a toy, you've got to remember that. The back looks reasonably alright. It might benefit from taking this sticker off the back window. There is a window under there, and this is just stuck on, it's self-adhesive, so taking that off to expose the window. Alternatively, painting it black or livery colour if you wanted to make it look like there wasn't a window there. The backlights are all red. Again, you could pick out a couple of those in different colours. You've got the repeater lights moulded at the top, which is a nice feature, but they're not picked out. So again, you pick those out in different colours, and that would make it look really, really good. Some registration plates and things, you're in business, basically. So the offside... yeah, pretty much the same as the near side. Bearing in mind it's left-hand drive, so this is the offside. But yeah, again, pick the window pillars out in black, pick the grills out, give them a bit of relief colour. But yeah, it's not too bad, not much else to report really. The roof looks very plasticky. I mean, obviously it is plastic, but it looks very plasticky. It would benefit from being painted. Again, this, I believe this is the air conditioning unit, so you might, you could possibly paint that in a little bit of a relief colour or something like that. Not really much detail underneath. There's a little bit. Again, you've got what appears to be the exhaust manifold there. You've got a little bit of the suspension detail kind of moulded in there to an extent. Not very much, but there's a little bit there. Suspension detail again there, and some tanks and things underneath the front, and a little bit of chassis framing, just a suggestion of it really. But all in all, it's not too bad. It's not as good, as I say, as the other one, but it would paint up nicely. The interior again looks pretty decent actually. The seats are shaped nicely, they're moulded, the headrests are kind of angled a little bit as they should be in real life, and it's all done in a grey colour rather than the transparent plastic of the other one, which looks pretty good. You could actually leave it like that, to be fair. It looks a little bit like the kind of grey e-leather or even grey maquette that you get on coaches. So yeah, it will detail up nicely. It won't look as good as the other one when I finish, but it will look decent. What I'll do, as always with these kind of videos, is when I get around to actually doing anything with them, I'll bring you an update to show you how they look after I've finished doing the work. It will be quite a while. I'm filming this in December 2024. I'm not quite sure when I'm going to load it up. It'll be sometime in early 2025 it gets loaded onto the YouTube channel. The follow-up will be a long time after that. I've got quite a lot of projects in the workshop at the minute, and to be fair, I'm not doing a lot of modelling as I do this. I kind of burnt myself out, so I'm having a bit of a break from it, but I've got a few projects, but a few you know, serious projects to do first, shall we say, before I start doing the fun one, the sort of messing about project with these toys. But they are worth a look. If you want just a cheap diorama, something that looks, you know, a bit different. As I say, the other ones £5 each from Smyth's Toy Superstore. These ones £6 each from the Entertainer. And with a little bit of work here and there, they will make a fairly realistic looking coach. And again, it's just something different. It's something cheap. You know, these 4 vehicles together have cost me £21, which you couldn't even buy one 1/76 scale model coach for that price. Or well, you probably could, but you know, not of a fairly recent release. You'd be looking at some really second-hand ones. So it's just something, you know, cheap and cheerful, something a bit different, and like I say, a bit of a blowout to have in the workshop in between the serious projects. So I'll let you know how I get on. When I've done a follow-up video, I'll put a link to it in the description to this one. But for now, as always, thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.